Welcome to another episode of Evan's MTB Saga. I'm Evan, and today we're gonna be doing something different, but kind of the same. I've been having some issues with my front end, and no, it wasn't when I cut off my handlebars for the hate comment video. It's been going on since I had a failed video idea where I was jumping this bike to flat several times over and clapping out the suspension. Since then, I've been having some major issues with the front wheel, especially the tire holding pressure, and plus, I gotta give these bars back to the Vitus Nucleus, and luckily Mr. Dentist finally delivered the handlebars. So let's go ahead and rip this bike apart and see what's going on. So these are the Truvative Descendant bars, and these bars are just super light. It is noticeably different compared to the stock bars that came on the Vitus Nucleus. I weighed both bars with the stems and the grips, and these Descendant bars are about 120 grams lighter. The only problem is the stem is 40 millimeters reach, so I think that might be a little bit too short for me. I guess I could work out if I was trying to make this like an enduro style bike, but I spend a lot more time climbing than I do descending, so I'm trying to balance out the Mythique to make it more of a trail bike and not just this downhill bomber bike. So let's go ahead and throw these on. Okay, next up is figuring out what's wrong with this wheel. When I was hooking this bike to flat, the next day I noticed that I had no air pressure in the tire. I didn't see any sealant leak out at all. I'm not sure what's going on with this tire. I'm sure I just burped the tire, but if that's the case, where'd all the sealant go? I've also been pretty eager to get rid of the Schwalbe Magic Mary tire because it is a soft compound, and while it may look like this tire has normal wear and tear, I can feel that the tire feels very brittle, and I'm sure it's just because I ride very dry conditions in rocks, sand, and a soft compound just isn't for me. And also, I've been testing out the Revere 6 sealant that I got for a killer deal a few months ago, and I put about 4 ounces in here, so let's see how much is left. The sealant is pretty much all in there. So it's been almost 3 months since I started using the Revere 6 sealant, and despite the potential burping that may have happened, I don't see any sealant really dried out, and if anything, the sealant looks like it got a little bit thicker. And I will say though, I am really happy to get this front tire off because it feels like a tank. This is the heaviest tire that I've ever felt, and I'm not sure the TPI or the casing on this thing, but it's gotta be the beefiest one there is. I'm also looking at this rim to see if there's any dents in the rim, and I don't really see anything, but I do see a pretty big nick in the tubeless tape, so definitely gonna be changing that out right now. And I also have a pretty lightweight solution that I'm already using on the back wheel. So while I got the tire and the rim tape off, I just cannot help myself. And if you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, you just know that I cannot help myself with wheels. I have these DT Swiss alloy nipples laying around since I did the ultimate upgrades, and it's a good way to save 20 grams of rotational weight. Let me just tell you, rotational weight matters. A 20 gram weight savings of rotational weight can reduce the amount of watts needed to accelerate your bike by about 6 watts. Now I'm gonna be replacing the rim tape and probably saving 20 or 40 more grams. Plus I'm gonna put a lighter tire on here, so I'm easily reducing the rotational weight by 350 grams. And I'm not gonna bore you with all the details. I'm just gonna do a quick little time lapse. Let's go ahead and get started. With the regular Gorilla tape, you can easily just tear off whatever width you want, but that doesn't work with the Gorilla Clear tape. The last time I used that, I took a razor blade and just marked a line, but now I have a little bike hack, and it's using power tools. Well, that was a little janky, but the line is nice and straight. I think it'll turn out okay. I'm definitely not a pro bike hacker. So my new tire is a tire brand that I loved in the BMX world, and that's Tioga. And I picked up this Tioga Glide 27.5 by 2.6 for $55 on eBay. Now this tire has pretty pretty beefy treads, and it has 120 TPI casing. So it'll probably withstand my conditions in the rocks a lot better. So this tire is actually going on the back, and it weighs about 900 grams, and I'm saving 300 grams compared to the Schwalbe Magic Mary. What's going on the front tire is the Maxxis Aggressor that I put on the Ultimate Upgrade video, which is a little bit weird because a Maxxis Aggressor is usually a rear tire, but hey, that's all I have right now, and this looks like it should be a rear tire also. If you think I should put this tire in the front, let me know in the comments below. Well, this front wheel is easily a pound lighter now, and you can feel it. I think we really had some good upgrades here. And I only added 100 grams with this back tire, and now front and back I have some massive tires. Now with the bike all built up, just gonna jump on the scale and see how much it weighs. 32 pounds flat. The last time I weighed this bike a couple weeks ago, it was 34.4 pounds. I'm just so happy with all the weight savings that we've had over the last couple of videos. There's really only one thing left to do, and that's to stare at it. With all these upgrades to make this a burly bike, I couldn't just take the bike out on my normal trails in Arizona. I drove all the way up here to Las Vegas to ride some beefy enduro style trails, and this bike performed super well. The big old huge tires dampened the trails so much, and I had so much traction. One thing I noticed is the tire insert must have got stretched out because it sounded like I was actually bouncing a basketball while I was going down some descents. The very first time I got on the bike, I popped a wheelie and I instantly felt how light the front end was. The bars are super light, and so is the front wheel with the new tire. So I think we've made some really wise upgrades, and this bike is pretty much nearing completion. I got a few more tweaks that I want to do, and in case you haven't noticed, I've been shooting this video in a Seth Bike Hack style, and it's more of an ode to Seth, and he's definitely one of the guys that got me inspired to make these mountain bike build videos. So if you like what you saw, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.